rewrite.
Just make sure it is 6.
Yes, 6:01.
All right. Good evening, being 6:01, I will call the Monday, June 10th, 2024 meeting of the Freetown Conservation Commission to order. I will note that the meeting is being recorded, and I ask if anyone in the audience may be recording. No, I think so. All right. All right, item number 1 is request for determination of applicability, 35 Central Avenue. And I believe there's someone out there. Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Okay, good
For the
afternoon.
record, my name is George Ayoub. I'm representing Mr. Joseph Coletti, replacing the septic system here.
Okay,
I think there's some easier to read plans, reduced plan here, easier to show you. Where the flags are and
Thank you.
the 100-foot red line and this and that next one. Okay. What happened is we have right now, it's a 3-bedroom house that has a failing leaching field. The leaching field is located at the edge of the road, basically, and between the road and the house. The septic tank is in fairly good shape, in excellent shape. Matter of fact, it's a heavy duty tank. We're not doing any work over there, just replacing the leaching field. There's no work within 100 feet of the buffer zone, within the 100 feet buffer zone. All work is outside the at least 106 feet to the edge of the leaching field. This is going to be a fairly straightforward, fast operation. 2 or 3 days, they should be out of there basically. And we're going to replace the distribution box with another heavy duty unit and replace the leaching field with a Presby type system that is 40% smaller than regular conventional septic leaching field. Again, there's no work. We are here because since the area is within that 100 feet, it is in a flood zone. But this is the only reason we are applying here. All work is outside the 100-foot buffer anyway. It's again straightforward, no stocking of material on the job. 2 or 3 days will be out of there.
did you say no stockpiling?
Nothing.
Okay.
Everything will be removed and discarded, bring new sand and piping, and that's it. It's a grassy area, fairly flat in the front, and should be no erosion at all.
All right, one item that we would like you to do, even though you're outside the 100-foot, is to have some erosion control.
We could use some
Siltation, yeah, silk socks or,
No problem.
okay, all right, so we will make that as stipulation.
No problem.
Okay, all right. Anyone have any questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to issue a negative determination number 3 with the condition.
I'll make that motion.
All right,
I'll second it.
motion is made and seconded. All in favor? Chris Mather?
Aye.
Chris Mather is aye. Steve Tripp?
Um,
Steve Tripp is aye. Charlie Sullivan is aye. All right,
Thank
there you
you.
go. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
I just said thank you. That's all. I'm Coletti.
Okay,
That's my
all
house.
right, All right, thank you. All right. Item number 2, request for determination of applicability, 18 Leonard Street. Chris Aruda, owner, John Medeiros Consulting. Anyone here?
Yes,
Okay, could you state your name, sir?
John Medeiros Consulting.
All right, can you give us a little rundown on what you need to do there, sir?
Yes, we're repairing a septic system there. The current system's in failure. And we're within about 79 feet, I believe, is the closest we are to the bordering vegetated wetland. So we filed the RFD and not the notice of intent. It's a pretty straightforward system, replacing we're just abandoning the old system, and we're pumping the existing tank, crushing and filling it, putting a new 1,500 gallon tank beyond that, a pump chamber that goes to a Presby system, approximately 18 by 30. We're no endangered species. It's pretty straightforward. We'll be in and out of there within three to 5 days, I would figure. The installer's on board, and that's basically it. If there's any comments, concerns that the commission has, be willing to answer them.
All right, anyone have any questions? There is one thing, apparently there is no indication of siltation control on the plan.
Sorry about that. That would be I will send a revised plan within 10 minutes showing that that change, the siltation. Yes, I totally forgot about it.
Okay, all right, if you would do that, that would be helpful. Other than that, I will entertain a motion of a negative determination number 3. Do I hear that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion is made. Do we hear a second? Chris, are you there?
He's on.
Yes, I'm here. I'm just having a hard time with the connection.
No problem. We need a second for the motion for negative determination number 3.
Okay, I second that motion.
All right, motion is made and seconded. All in favor? Chris Mather?
Aye.
Chris Mather is aye. Steve Tripp?
Aye.
Steve Tripp is aye. Charlie Sullivan is aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Maderis, and if you just would make that change.
I will do that and get it over to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Number 3, item number 3, request for determination of applicability, 30 Roundsville Drive. Owner Eric DeCosta, Jamie Bissonette is the consultant. I think I saw him.
Yeah.
You there, Mr. Bissonette?
I'm here. Good evening.
All right, if you could just give us a little rundown on the operation.
Certainly. So the applicant has an existing dwelling on Roundsville Drive. They're looking, or they're actually in the process of doing some construction for this accessory garage building. When you look at the Mass GIS maps online, it shows some off-site wetlands on an adjacent parcel. We had a wetland scientist go out to the site and not find any wetlands within 100 feet, but indicated, and so does the GIS map, that that adjacent parcel may have altered wetlands on site, meaning that the wetlands are no longer there. If they were ever truly there, I don't know. I never witnessed them, but we're filing this request for determination to make sure that if there are wetlands found that were filled in or impacted in any negative way, that our client has coverage under a permit.
All right, sounds good. If I would just add for caution, if you would do some siltation control around the area of disturbance, just to make absolutely sure that that's the case, and there's no, even if you don't find something there, an ounce of prevention. That sound reasonable?
Understood. We're actually showing silt fence running from just behind the existing shed, running all on the I apologize. I believe it's the southerly line and up around the back of the building. So that should stop anything from flowing that's heading in the downhill direction for the most part.
Okay, all right. I would accept a motion to issue a negative determination number 3. If I could have that motion?
Charlie, I just have a question before we give that
Okay,
motion,
fine.
and I'm ready to give it, but so I'm just confused on the uncertainty of what he just said. Like, he's like, my client will not be held liable for a finding later. And how is this determined? Like, how do we get in this position?
Well, would you like for me to answer that, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
So we're not looking to be absolved of liability. What we're doing is we're asking for the commission to bless the work that we're proposing on this site. We don't have the right of trespass to be able to go onto adjacent properties and inspect whether there were impacts to wetlands or not. So in this case,
Okay.
the GIS shows that there was a wetland. The GIS also shows that it was altered. When our wetland scientist went out to look at the site, he said that there were no wetlands within 100 feet. And so when we spoke, we felt that it would be best and probably the most careful to file an RDA to make sure that the commission's had a chance to look at this and bless our application.
That makes perfect sense. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
And who was your wetlands engineer that determined this?
This was Robert Gray of Sebacia.
Okay. All right, good. That answers my question. So I was a little bit lost on how we got to where we are, but it makes more sense now.
Understood. Thanks, Chris.
Okay, so I will make that motion,
Okay,
Mr.
motion is
Chairman,
made.
Charlie.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Motion is made and seconded. Chris Mather?
Aye.
Chris Mather is aye. Steve Tripp?
Aye.
Steve Tripp is aye. Charlie Sullivan is aye. Thank you, Mr. Bizinet.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good
Have a
day.
good night.
Item number 4, modification to approval, order of conditions for 31 Innovation Way, Fall River Redevelopment Authority owner. Just so we're clear on what's gone on, there was a process, I wanted to say 2 years ago,
It's been a little bit,
3
yeah.
years ago, in which the authority came before the commission and got an order of conditions. There has been a little stormwater control modification, and they just want to reaffirm that they are good with the commission. Nothing really has changed to any significance, so if,
Someone is here from the project, just
Okay.
so you know.
all right, fine. All right, did I do a good rundown on that, Mr. Dunn, or?
You're doing fine. You want to keep on going. That's perfectly fine with me.
All right,
Let me introduce myself. Brian Dunn. I'm the principal of the firm MBL Land Development and Permitting, with offices at 5
Brian
Bristol.
Dunn.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mather.
That's a good name.
Amen, baby. With offices at 5 Bristol Drive in Southeastern Mass, for VMD properties that hired us to do all the surveying and site civil engineering. As you started to discuss, Mr. Chairman, there have been some revisions to the plans. Most of them, if not all of them, are inside the already approved limit of work that we received in the original order of conditions. We made some changes to the drainage system, some of the grading of the basins. Most of these changes came from the peer review comments that were being requested of us through the planning board, and some of the changes that the city of Fall River wanted in regards to utility connections. So we worked with the geotech engineer, come up with an underground drainage system for the under drains, and the parking configuration really didn't change. So really minor changes to address the previously issued comments from the peer review of the planning board and to address the city of Fall River's comments as well. So we're asking for the plan modification to be approved and put into the file, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you.
Very welcome.
Anyone have any questions? All right, with that, I'd accept a motion to approve the changes. of
I'll
order-
make the motion. I will make the motion to approve the changes.
Okay, motion has been made,
I'll second it.
motion has been seconded, all in favor, Chris Mather?
Aye.
Chris Mather is aye. Steve Tripp?
Aye.
Steve Tripp is aye. Charlie Sullivan is aye. Thank you, Mr. Dunn.
Thank you very much for having me, Mr. Chairman, and members of the commission. We'll see you next time.
Yes, you take care.
Yes, bye now.
Have a good night.
You too, bye now.
Item number 5, Zero Cliff Drive. In relation to determination of applicability, to remove 5 dead trees. I see we have the applicant here. Chris, at the last meeting, which you hadn't attended, there was a question by one of the commissioners about whether the trees were dead or not. She is not here tonight, but I see that you have a note from your tree surgeon stating that they were dead. My only thing here is, Chris, is the work has been done already, has it not?
No, it hasn't.
No? Because
Nope.
I had gone by and I didn't see any dead trees on the
Okay.
lot. But,
Who is the
No,
engineer,
the-
if I may ask?
what's that, Chris?
Who is the engineer
question?
that certified the trees to be dead?
Well, there wasn't
Well,
an
It wasn't an
engineer.
engineer, it was Brightman Lumber.
It was the-
Bright, he does all my tree work.
Okay.
well, when
Charlie,
I
have
was-
you gone out and looked at this? Are you comfortable with the assessment of Brightman Lumber?
Yeah, I'm not gonna personally have any issue with somebody going and cutting trees. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, Chris, and please correct me if I'm not, the land is high off the Assonet River. It's Cliff Drive, Chris, just so you know, and makes a loop and runs on the north side of the area of Assonet Bay Shores, on the south side of Assonet River, as it comes in from the Taunton River. It makes a loop north of Assonet Bay Shores and then turns into what they refer to as Assonet Bay, a bigger part of the river, and then flows up by 24. This is on that loop. So the lot is south of the river, but it is a rather high elevation, is it not, Chris?
Yes, it is.
Uh,
Actually, there's actually a dead tree sitting in another tree that had fallen during the storm last year.
So he just wants to go in, he's not going into the wetlands itself to
No.
retrieve it.
There's
It's just
actually a
on the
driveway
river.
between where I'm gonna cut the trees and the water. So these trees are all close to the road, to the power line.
All right, so anyone else have any questions? Do you have any other questions, Chris?
No, that kind of answers the question. Anybody that has seen this firsthand is comfortable with what we're looking at, or what we're prepared to approve.
Yeah, it's.
Because I'm gonna approve this without sight unseen, but obviously,
Right.
going on my colleague's visual there. So either you, Charlie, or one of the other colleagues has seen this and they're comfortable with it, and I'm good with it.
All right, yes, I'm comfortable with it, I'm very comfortable with it. So if I
Great.
could
If
have.
you're comfortable, then I'm comfortable. Absolutely.
Okay, well, everybody's comfortable, that's good. All right.
Thank you.
If I could have a motion to, find a negative determination number 3.
I'll make that motion.
Motion is made and
I'll
motion is seconded. All in favor, Chris Mather?
Aye.
Chris Mather is aye. Steve Tripp?
Aye.
Steve Tripp is aye. Charlie Sullivan is aye. All right. All right, Chris, there you go.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You
Have a
take
good
care.
night, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
The next item is going to be item number 6, 11 Walnut Street. Colette, Torrey's, it's a public hearing, so I'll accept a motion to reopen the public hearing.
Call to order.
Call it to order. Pardon me. Okay,
I'll make that motion.
motion is made.
I'll second that motion.
Motion is made and seconded. We do have to have a roll call on this. Chris Mather,
Aye.
Chris Mather is aye. Steve Tripp,
Aye.
Steve Tripp is aye. Charlie Sullivan is aye. All right, Mr. Okay, yes, again. All right. Where we left off was we wanted to make a few changes, I believe.
Yes, we had a neighbor across the street, Mr. Salpetro.
Yes.
Had commented, that, my plan didn't show his culvert. I've since located the culvert and added it onto the plan.
Okay,
I determined that it flows from his property into the property north of us, doesn't flow onto
Right.
our property.
Right.
The old stream or pipe, that is on our property flows north to the property north of us. So there's really nothing that the work we're gonna do could
Right.
really impact Mr. Salpetro.
Right. But you do understand his concern,
I do.
as it was that last month, with
Yeah.
the water especially, but.
Yes, we found an existing pipe that crosses the easement. I don't know if I had found that before the previous meeting.
I'm not sure, with what, when you're referring to this pipe,
There's a
where,
10-inch, it's like a ductile iron pipe that crosses the gas line easement. And water from the existing pond
you had.
goes
okay.
north.
Yes, you had mentioned it.
Okay, I'd since gone out to look for the end of that pipe in the pond. I think when I was there before, I didn't have waders or anything. I can't find the end of it. It's submerged in the pond somewhere.
Mhm.
It's flowing a quarter, maybe a third full. What we've calculated is in order to equal the maximum flow that we could be getting from the 18-inch pipe that runs under the driveway.
Mhm.
I need 4.2 pipes, 4.2 10-inch pipes. So we're gonna add 4 pipes.
Mhm.
So that the driveway that we're gonna create won't act as a dam
Mhm.
and collect water.
Mhm.
So we'll leave the pipe that's there. We
Mhm.
won't touch it, won't disturb it, won't make it flow better, make it flow worse, we'll just leave it. And then we'll add 4, pretty much at the surface that's there now to go under the driveway so that we won't make any changes in the drainage patterns. Because 4 additional pipes will equal the maximum that could be running from that 18-inch pipe.
Okay.
So there'll be 5 total 10-inch pipes. So I think that was really the only big question was about pipes.
Yes. Okay, there was a letter from the DEP about revision of plan, is that correct?
I haven't seen.
Okay, all right.
I think it was the letter, it's in the packet, your revision letter to DEP, right?
Oh, okay.
About the,
Yes. I
Okay,
didn't
okay,
realize it
okay.
Yes,
Because
Yeah,
I had done a one-to-one
Yeah, okay.
application and you were.
Right, okay. All right,
So I
all right.
added some more plants. on.
okay, all right. Right. Anyone have any questions? Chris, you
No
have any
questions. Nope. No question.
All right, that being said, we can, well, close the public hearing.
Yeah, you would have to close it.
Let's close the public, I'll
Do you
receive
wanna
a,
ask if any- public-
okay, yeah.
Sorry, just
No, no, I know,
procedurally.
Yes. Is there anyone from the public that wants, I thought we already had, wants to ask any other questions? Okay, hearing none. I'll accept the motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
All right,
I'll
motion,
second.
motion made, motion is seconded, all in favor, say aye. Chris Mather,
Aye.
Chris Mather says aye. Steve Tripp
Aye.
says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. The hearing is closed. All right, so really basically all we have to do is we have the stipulation of the one and a half. So I'll accept the motion to accept the plan as is presented.
I'll make that motion.
Oh. And I will
Okay.
second, I will support the motion of my colleague.
Motion is made and motion is seconded. All in favor. Chris Mather,
Aye.
Chris Mather says aye. Steve Tripp,
Aye.
Steve Tripp says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. All right, there you go.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
No problem. Have
welcome.
a good night, guys.
There you go. All right, item number 7 is the continued notice of resource area delineation, 81 Middleborough Road and 0 County Road. Applicant Robert Nasser. All right. Okay, person is present. Is there anyone else here? Is this a public hearing?
Yes, this is
Okay.
public.
So had we opened it before?
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is a continue, so you wanna
Okay.
call it back to order?
So I want to call the public hearing back to order. Do I have to have a vote? though?
You don't have to have a motion
Okay.
now.
All right. We'll reopen the hearing. All right, a little disjointed, but
Sure, so I think I have my engineer here, Greg
Okay.
Drake from Outback Engineering, so I'll
Okay.
let Greg summarize where we're at.
Sure. Greg Drake from Outback Engineering. The hearing was continued to have environmental partners come out there, wetland scientists come out and review the wetland lines out there. And they did go out there and review everything and approved it. They sent a letter, I believe that you should have that. We got a copy of it, of the
We got it.
approval. So that is all under, as the commission wanted, and it's all reviewed and approved. And we took care of the things for DEP. We got the updated, which the consultant wanted to, the updated BVW forms are all set. And there was a wetland change shown on that, and that actually is the other bog, which it was determined as an upland bog and has the other array in it. So I think that since it was determined upland by the commission before us, that wetland change doesn't affect anything. So I guess we open up to any questions you may have on the project.
all right. Anyone have any questions from the public? Hearing none. Any commissioner have any questions they want to ask?
I have no
Uh,
questions.
Okay, good.
All
Steve.
set.
All right, being no questions, I'll accept a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Motion is made. Chris, do we have a second to close?
Absolutely, I will second and support that motion.
All right, motion is made and seconded. All in favor? Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather says aye. Steve Tripp.
Aye.
Steve Tripp says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. All right. Now I accept the motion to accept the plan as approved, as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I'll make that motion, or I will second that motion.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor? Chris Mather,
Aye.
Chris Mather says aye. Steve Tripp.
Aye.
Steve Tripp says aye. Charlie Sullivan says aye. All right, the motion is is passed and accepted. All right,
Good, thank you. One
Right.
one point of clarification, Mr. Chairman, if I could.
yes.
So I do have, maybe this is more for Victoria, I do have the green cards, I emailed them.
You did,
to
yeah.
Nicole, do you
Mhm.
need the actual originals, or do you?
Oh, yeah, we can take them to the file.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure. Ah,
Can we read? All right. Thank you.
okay,
Do you want that mailed directly to you, the ORAD?
sure, if you could, that would be great.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good
Uh,
night.
You take care.
Take care.
Good night.
Item number 8, discussion and vote on reappointments. And the reappointments are Mark Rocha, gatekeeper, effective July 1 through June 30th, 2025. And Lexi Rocha, gatekeeper, effective dates the same, July 1 through June 30th, 2025. Mike McHugh as open space consultant, once again, effective July 1 and through June 30, 2025. And Adeline Bellisham as conservation agent, effective July 1 through June 30th, 2025. Is there any questions or discussion?
I just want to know what the compensation is related to, an annual or an hourly compensation, just to, for the record, but I'm ready to approve this.
Okay, for the gatekeepers.
For the gatekeepers, Chris?
Yes, all of them. I just want to know the compensation
sure.
before I approve.
So, no, of course, so gatekeepers get paid minimum wage, it's hourly. Mike McHugh, it's a volunteer position, the open space consultant. And the per diem Concom agent, it's up to 10 hours a week as needed. I believe we set that at $40 an hour.
Okay, perfect. And then the gatekeepers, do they do overtime, or is that up to 40 hours?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's up to 19 hours per week, so they're part-time seasonal employees. So
Okay, so there's no scenario where we have to pay overtime at the minimum wage at overtime, correct?
nope, not at all.
Okay, perfect. I'll make a motion to approve that.
Motion is made. Motion is seconded. All in favor? Chris Mather?
Aye.
Chris Mather is aye. Steve Tripp?
Aye.
Steve Tripp is aye. Charlie Sullivan is aye. Appointments are made. Discuss and vote on online permitting contract with Full Circle Technologies. Victoria, just want to run this
Yeah.
down again.
Yeah, so I put the proposal in the packet for you guys. So I know the commission had decided to move forward with online permitting, both building and health. Are online with Permitize, so we're working on getting more departments there. We do have the funding for this since we didn't use the conservation agent line item this fiscal year yet. So we have the funding. The only sort of add-ons that you can, that I thought we needed was online payment integration. Of course, we have online permitting, people should be able to pay their permits online, but that is a separate fee. So I think we should have that, as well as public view for the permitting. I think that would be beneficial as well. The other add-ons I don't think are necessary. But of course, you know, any feedback the commission has is welcome.
Yes,
Victoria-
I have a question and some feedback. So
right.
when someone pays the fee online, are we charging them a 3% fee to incur our overhead just to break even on the cost of using a credit card for the payment as opposed to a check?
Is this where we join? I am not sure if there's a fee online. I would have to double check with the building or health office since they use it. I don't know the answer. But I can
Okay,
definitely-
I would just, being in the forum of dealing with credit card payments and a variety of sources, we need to, as a commission, And as an entity protecting our situation, if you will, we need to make sure that we charge 3% and that they pay that if they're going to use a credit card. Because that's the way of the world today. I don't like it, but that's the reality of it because, you know, we're effectively as a city a nonprofit organization. So I just want to make sure we're not taking the hit on the credit card if someone uses it. So I would like to ensure that we're charging 3%, which should cover any credit card fees on top of whatever the fee is if we're going to use this online portal. And that should be built into the way it's formatted. Does anyone disagree with that?
I do not. Okay, so does Chris need to make a motion?
I will I'll make the motion subject to making sure someone then just make sure that we cover our costs. I don't want to go in the negative on, you know, doing this as a convenience for people that are filing, and it should be that way because that's the way of the world, but we just need to not go in the wrong direction. Our fees, all our costs are way below the market standard of what other towns charge for things. So I just want to make sure that we just don't go in the wrong direction. We just at least break even. That's all. That's my concern.
Understandable. All righty, do we have so Chris, your motion is to approve of the billing process with the understanding that there should be the 3% credit card fee, so to speak, charge attached, correct?
That is 100% correct.
All right. Motion has been made. Do I hear a second? Motion has been seconded. All in favor, Chris Mather?
Aye.
Chris Mather is aye. Steve Tripp?
Aye.
Steve Tripp is aye. Charlie Sullivan is aye. All right, motion passed. The next item is.
Can I just do one point
no
clarification? So
problem.
this is, just so everyone's aware, this does have to, because conservation, we can't sign our own contracts. This will go to the Board of Selectmen for approval at their next meeting, so I will follow up, you know, just to let you guys know that that's been approved and everything.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, item number 10 is minutes for April 22nd, May 13th, and May 20th. I did see somewhere where there's basically a typo, but I cannot find it now. It was just like someone was calling Mr. It was just a little name thing, but I can't.
Okay,
It's some ridiculous little thing, but we might,
do you know which set it was in?
I do not remember now.
Okay, well, I can have.
I
Nicole
remember.
Double check out.
Yeah, I just, I
Um,
think it was something to do with somebody's name.
Okay,
It became like Mr. Robert or something like that instead of,
oh, okay, I missed it, okay.
okay, something like that. With that note, anyone else, have any or input on the minutes?
No minute, no inputs or questions. Ready to
Alrighty.
approve.
All right, I'll accept the motion to approve the minutes as read, as written, whatever.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, Chris Mather?
Aye.
Chris Mather is aye. Steve Tripp?
Aye.
Steve Tripp is aye. Charlie Sullivan is aye.
Front lobby, Officer McDonald, front lobby.
So there we go. The last item, any other business properly before the commission? The only thing is, I guess we've gotta wanna sit down and talk about how to have Adeline work out some of the fundamental things.
Yeah.
I think now that we have a Conservation Commission agent, to have the agent do some inspections of the projects as they are in operation would be a good idea, just to keep people on track. Does anyone have any input on that?
No, that's a great idea.
All right. All right, with that being said, I'll accept a motion.
Can I
to-
say
oh,
one thing?
Yep, no
I'm so
problem,
sorry.
no problem.
So there is, so planning board is doing a site visit, to the fire, at the fire station number 2 tomorrow to see the potential space.
Okay.
Chris, just in case you're not aware, there is potential that, administration wants to move the planning and conservation office and the water department to fire station number 2. So we have a discussion about that, like a joint meeting with the BOS, in July. So in case anyone wants to see the space, we are going there tomorrow at 3:30. We just don't have time to post an agenda, so if we are going to have a quorum, cannot deliberate about it. Planning board did post their agenda, in time. So we will have a quorum of the planning board, but just wanted to invite in case anyone wanted to see the space.
Okay, I did see that, and I don't know how to say this without sounding comical, but it can't get worse than where we are. So I'm good with that. If everyone else is good with that.
So, 'cause I think that's.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if I'm quite gonna say it couldn't get worse, but, the problem I have is that there doesn't seem to be any, provision at this moment. Now, hopefully it'll change, where the public.
So there's no office right now. I thought there was like a defined space where we would go into.
I don't
Because I know we
believe,
currently share the space.
right,
Is that correct?
right.
So,
And
do you mean the 3rd floor, like the current office, Chris?
Yes.
Our current office, it's just me and Nicole, who's our clerk so we both work for all the land use boards. So technically it's shared between planning and ZBA, but we're the staff for those boards as well.
Correct.
So-
And currently
Yeah, so-
there's no climate control up there, correct? In the summer, I mean, I know there's heat, but in the summer you have like a window AC that barely works. Or correct me if I'm wrong, please.
No, that's fair. We do have a window AC up there and it still remains like 80 degrees when it's a hot day, so it
Yeah,
is.
so that's why I feel the way I feel. Like you shouldn't have to work in 80-degree weather. This is, 2024. There should be reasonable climate control. And I know the new building has central AC. So that was my reasoning behind just saying, hey, let's get out of here and go over there. But if anybody sees differently, please let me know.
Like I was gonna say, my big thing is access of the public to actually go to the office if they need. And at the present time, I don't see that. And that disturbs me in that, somebody would have to, well, one of the things was, well, they could come up to the police station and meet the person that wants to talk to them about it, but now they can't Victoria couldn't turn around and say, okay, here in our files is the file and show them or something like that. So I like to see that the public would be able to get some access to the office. That's my big concern.
Well, that makes sense.
Okay. I'm on track, I guess, Chris, huh?
Absolutely. You're always on track. Sometimes I have to make decisions without, feet on the street or eyes on what it is that we're doing. So I rely on my colleagues to assess that and then I back them up. So I just express my concern and my sentiment and we'll just move forward.
I know it's about time we seriously consider what we're gonna do with town hall. But that being said, all right. Victoria, can I ask you to take a couple of pictures for me?
Oh, of course, yeah. I'm gonna take some for some other planning board members as well, so I'll send them out.
I'll probably be there tomorrow.
Okay, good.
But, all right, with that being said, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion is made to adjourn.
I'll support the motion of my colleague.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor? Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather is aye. Steve Tripp.
Aye.
Steve Tripp is aye. Charlie Sullivan is aye. The meeting adjourns. Take care. Thanks, Chris, for coming
Good
by.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye now.
Thank you.